It's waiting for the audio.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Okay. This is working now.
Yeah,
Good.
it's perfect.
Okay, if I leave my phone propped up like this, sometimes my speaker don't be working.
No, yeah, it's cool. Okay, look at the background.
I got
Furniture?
so many books at an estate sale this weekend. Let's start there. I don't know how
Oh
to put
yeah.
this. Oh, here.
You got all the
Look at all
plants.
the books I got at an estate sale, and they were only like $1 each. What a steal!
What the
A
hell? And
robbery.
those are your flavor or what?
My flavor. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh yeah,
I
they're
got
definitely
this
your
one,
flavor.
uh, Stephen Hawking, A Briefer History of Time. I'm gonna read that
Oh,
one first, I think. This one is called Chaos. It's also by another science man. This one is written by a mathematician, and it's the theory of probability, but it's about like a woman who is just very good at probability, so she uses it, to her advantage. And I love stuff like that. So
oh
she's
yeah,
just
the
like,
IRL cheat codes.
exactly. This one, oh, I feel like you'd like this. It's called Einstein's Dreams, and it's still fiction, so it's not, yeah, it's not based on true story, but it's like written as if it were Einstein's dreams, Like it's like, what did he dream about? This is it.
Oh, so that's like speculative. What was Einstein's like actual like dreams?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That is
So
kind
that's
of
a
that's kind of interesting. That's like yeah, working backwards.
yeah. So
Mm.
I'm gonna also like do that one in the early ones. And then the rest are kind of like poetry and myths, which is fun. This one is called Horoscopes for the Dead, and of course with a name like that, what was I gonna do? Pass it up? It's just poetry though, and I read through some of the poems and I liked it. This one is so cutie. This is just called When You Love a Cat. And it's a
Yeah,
kid's book.
yeah, your cat was probably like, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. This is Zen and Zen Classics, another like short stories one.
Yeah.
Universal Myths. This is myths from all over the world, which I really like.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one's the jackpot.
yeah, yeah,
Does it like categorize them in similarity, or is it just like
yeah, dude.
different cultures, different uh
Let me show you. Heroes, gods, tricksters, and others. But
ooh.
yeah, it's like categorizes them into like, see, death and
Oh,
rebirth,
the
distant
archetypes.
quests.
Oh
Yeah, the
yeah.
archetypes,
What?
bringers of magic and the arts. Oh, wow, what a steal, a
Oh
jackpot.
yeah. That one's gonna be rich.
Yeah, and then this other one on the end is just another little poetry book. But yeah, so since I got all my books, reorganized my big shelf. This book is actually for Monica. So Monica, if she's watching, this is for her.
Oh
It's because
yo.
I
Monica
got it
actually
because it
just
was like
called.
this big. Oh, really?
Yeah, she was
Yeah,
calling me
she
just
texted
now.
me about. Oh, wow, good timing on her part. How does she know? How do I flip this back? Sorry, I don't know how to work Zoom. Okay, but yeah, those are all the books I got. I got that book for Monica because it was only like $3, and I just not that great of a plant person, even though I have these plants.
Oh yeah,
So
you got the plants out there for real.
I got this pink plant, this one at the top at an estate sale too, for only like $10, and then the guy gave me a free little aloe vera plant too. Yeah,
Damn, you're sponsored by estate sales.
I really am. Estatesales.net sponsor me.
That is crazy. Yeah, I need to start looking into those. Populate my house with stuff like that, instead of like buying new things or I don't know, it feels
This
like you got a lot of gems.
dude, everything is estate sales. Okay, let me show you this full shelf tour then. All these ashtrays, collecting, all estate sales. Look at this one. This one
Oh,
was
and they're
a thrift
beautiful.
store. Playboy Benny. This one has a little flower in it. So cute. That one has a little heart. Then I got these little brass stands or candle holders. I was like, what are these called? Candle holders from estate sales. I got these two little ashtrays from estate sales. I think I got this rock from an estate sale. What else? I have this. This is an ashtray, but I just put my plant on it because it has like a little spot for a grinder, but my plant just fit perfectly. So I left that there. Um, these are ashtrays.
Oh,
Also
that
estate sale, got
circular
a little
one is
swan in
fucking
the back.
crazy.
Dude, right? Isn't it so cute? Look, it's double-sided.
What?
Yeah. This I'm pretty sure is for Coke, but like 25 cents. How was I not gonna take it? Uh
Yeah, just kind
strawberry
of like
saffron.
aesthetically pleasing. That
It
little
really
spoon,
is.
and it's
Little
just
baby
so
spoon.
intricate and small.
Yeah, and I just love tiny things. And then yeah, this is actually also from Monica. The small part of this plant is from Monica. This plant is also from Monica, and
What the
Monica
fuck?
made that. So yeah,
Oh shit,
lots
you
of
got a
things from Monica.
Monica exclusive.
Yeah, I do. Shout out Monica for real. Oh, this jar too. I've been putting my moon water
Oh
in this.
yeah.
Look at how beautiful this is. I got this from an estate sale. Look, it
Yeah,
has
that
like
one is
embossed.
crazy.
Yeah, I've been putting my moon water in that one because I really like it. But yeah, that's my shelf tour.
So that's what you've been up to, estate sales, as per usual.
Yeah, and I got a whole bunch of clothes too, more than I need because God knows I don't have clothes. Sorry, Anoki is also mad because I just came home from work, so he's attention deprived.
Baby. How's
This
work?
is
I've been
good,
seeing you
honestly.
like cooking on stuff in
My
on Be Real.
um, how's work? Work is so busy right now. Actually, we just have a lot going on, but it's fine. My days pass by so quick. Today, it like became 4 p.m. and I thought it was like 2 p.m. and I was like, oh God, I need to get more things done. But I
Yeah,
still
you're
got
like, I need more time here at work.
yeah, yeah. But let me show you what I've actually been up to because I know I told you that I wanted to like wait on this because I was like, let me read more of my book. But I did just realize that I'm not. Did you get it? How much have you read?
So I got to the second chapter.
Okay, okay.
I read the
I
intro
haven't.
and then I haven't had enough time to keep reading.
Yeah, same. And I also kind of made the decision that like all of the things in my life will come into a completion at some point in their own time, and that includes this book because
Oh,
I'm
yo.
also yeah.
I feel that. I was thinking about that actually the other day with all the books that I have. Like,
Yeah.
there's probably only three that I have that I've finished all the way through. But the rest, I'm like, you know what? I'm probably gonna get to that shit. I'm gonna finish all of them by the time I'm 50, or maybe by the
Yeah,
time I'm
I did the
50,
same thing.
I'm gonna like begin the process of finishing the second half of all of the books.
Yeah, and then it's gonna I'm when I'm 50 and finally finishing this book, I'm gonna be like, this knowledge was in front of me this whole time, you know?
Yo, yo.
And then I'll be mad at myself.
No, honestly,
But yeah, same with all those books too.
it's probably good that it'll happen that way because like there's some things that I like revisit like later on, like things that I fucked with but I didn't really know why or understand that I like look back into now and I'm like, holy shit, like I understand like all of the shit now. That's gonna
Yeah.
be you like times 50 on like whenever you're 50, you know, or whatever it is that you revisit.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I feel about these because I'm also actually reading this book at the same time. This is Psychic Witch by Matt Oren, and I'm not far in this at all, but this one is actually about, well, the chapter that I'm on is about like focusing in on your meditation practices. And so because of that, it's a little bit more teaching. So I can't just read through because I do want to take my
Oh,
like step back to like, learn my lessons.
oh,
Yeah.
I feel that though. There's this one book that I have. It's by this guy. Forget his name. It's like a he's like a white dude with two first names. You know, it's like,
Oh, uh-huh.
but he's a student of Carl Jung, and he goes into like um like a way to meditate in which you can speak to your subconscious without having to like hallucinate or take any drugs or anything like that. But you can like speak to your imagination, and then it's also written in that step by step way.
Yeah.
So I read like the first part, and I was like, I need to do that a lot more before I move on to the second part, you know.
Yeah.
And I haven't touched it in a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Like I read that chapter about meditation however long ago. But the thing is, I actually have been keeping it in mind because I am 2 weeks not smoking. Wow, look at me go.
Yo,
Yeah, because
congrats.
I'm trying to remember my let me get there actually. I'm trying to remember my dreams better because when
Oh,
you smoke heavy, you just don't remember your dreams is like a correlation that apparently happens. I
yeah.
don't know, brain chemicals. And I know I have been dreaming, and it's like I haven't been able to fully remember them, and it's been driving me insane because I feel like I don't have control over my subconscious, you know? And so I've, you know, I'm on a little break again.
How's
See
that
how
feeling?
honestly it's felt a little bit not too great because my body had a little bit of withdrawals for a while, but actually it's that I hadn't been able to like to fall asleep as easier. But
Uh,
think I told you this the last time we talked, but I've been making my own teas, and
oh
that
yeah. What is
yeah,
that? Like the lotus whatever tea?
yeah, so I put blue lotus, lavender in that first one I made. I think it was just blue lotus, lavender, and lemon because I kept it simple with just the blue lotus. And then I've made a few teas afterwards. I've done mugwort and blue lotus again because I still have some lavender. I need to get more lavender. Lemon is just really easy. And yeah, I've kind of kept the ingredients simple, but like they have been helping me sleep. And mugwort and blue lotus flower are um, have properties that help you with lucid dreaming specifically and like accessing that part of your dream psyche. I don't know how to word it, but
Ooh.
yeah. Uh, so I feel like it has been helping. It was at first helping me to fall asleep, right? And actually, literally,
Yeah.
like just 2 days ago, I've had like dreams I guess, remembering. But okay, now let me get to here. I got this little I got this little sketchbook last Wednesday, and I got this because remember you had said like get you a little sketchbook, it'll change your life. Change my life because
Cheers.
yeah, it is just so much easier to fill up a page, and it feels so much better. Like it
Yeah.
feels like less intimidating for me.
Yeah, it's not like a fucking ocean of paper. You know, it's like
Yeah,
you don't need that much paper. No one does.
yeah, no one does. And I didn't realize how much I like tiny things too. So I've actually been using this solely as a sketchbook. I stole it from Barnes and Noble. Sorry.
Hey, no,
It was
You
$30.
gathered it from Barnes and Nobles.
I did. I borrowed it. But $30 for no. It's this small. Fits in my purse. Anyway.
Is that like a
Um
moleskin?
yeah, it's a moleskin. I'm
Yeah,
covering it
those
up in
shits, they
stickers.
run your pockets. They'll be
Mhm.
like $1 million, please, and they kind of fall apart.
Yeah, let me show you what I've been drawing. This sticker is by Chloe. Shout out Chloe.
Oh, hey.
Uh, this was the first thing I drew. I did post this one. My mind.
All right, so you gotta explain that one. Najad
How did
has a
it make you
tattoo.
feel? I want to know how you thought about it first.
Najad has a tattoo that is very similar on their thigh.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
I was like,
What
Najad, look.
chances?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's definitely speaking like you're huge into astrology, all that stuff. It's speaking Gemini, you know? And then
Yeah.
like also that like wait, show it to me again. That middle part. I mean, of course they're doing two different things. One is like focused, one is it looks kind of spacey, daydreaming.
Yeah.
Their hairs are different. One seems like I don't know, more emphasized. The one that's facing forward is more emphasized.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I just can't stop thinking duality.
Hmm.
I'm thinking of how
I almost wanted
they're
to like
parts of a whole.
call this something like an indecision, you know, like that's kind of what I felt. But I actually, well, I'll get to that point at some point in this. But I started drawing something else for that. But I don't know. When I was drawing this, it was kind of like started with just, you know, a doodle because this was like the first thing I was going to draw in here. So I'm like, new sketchbook, you know? And so I was just like doodling at first. And then I don't know, when I kept drawing, and I think that's why I like this tiny format because it's like way easier to put down my creative thoughts. And by that, I just mean drawing. But like, I don't recreationally draw anymore. Like, it's a practice that I've let go of. And not by choice necessarily, but just by like bad habit, you know what I'm saying? And so this is like nice to just have around and like
I mean,
literally,
and you know, you like focus on what's necessary because it's hard to overwork something
right.
when you're working on such a small space.
Actually, I definitely learned that from doing this because I did this relatively, I guess, quickly in terms of how I would expect myself to finish something, right? And then I was like, oh, do I need to stop or does this need anything else? You know, and
Ooh.
that was like having that discernment was like a significant thought in my mind. Like I need to know when to stop drawing and actually it's funny because I also had that problem when I was still like always drawing. Like in high school was probably the
Yeah.
last time I was always drawing, but I also did have a problem with like knowing when to stop a piece. And I was like, oh, is it time to learn that now? When to stop something? Uh, but anyway, yeah. I also spent a long time trying to figure out what I was going to put into this speech bubble because I also wasn't going to put a speech bubble at all. And then I just drew it and then I liked the shape of it. And
So
I was
yeah, what
like,
is it saying? I forgot.
it says, "Do you feel my mind?" Yeah.
How long did it take for that to come out? That
To
quote.
that sentence,
Yeah.
probably an hour, maybe. Yeah, an
Oh, so
hour of like staring at a speech bubble and being like, "What is supposed to
you're
go in
brewing
here?"
on it.
I was, because I couldn't continue with what I got fixated on it. You know, I couldn't continue with whatever I wanted to do next until I was like, "What is going on in this bubble?" At first, I was just gonna put some stupid shit like "oops" or you know, like something dumb like that, and like a little what are those words called? Onomatopoeia.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was just gonna put something like that, and then I like tried it, didn't like it, and I was like, no, I don't know what this needs yet. And then I started to think about like, what does it? If I, me as a Gemini, what does this mean to me, right? Like I was just staring at it, and then I kind of felt like I don't know, it was like a way for me to document how my mind can drift, you know, or like it's like there's a lot going on in here. Also, the moon was in Gemini when this was going on, or when this is going on, when I was drawing this. The moon was in Gemini when I was drawing this. And I also have a Gemini moon. So the "do you feel my mind" is kind of just like how I feel like I communicate my emotions. It's like I need people to feel and understand my mind to understand my emotions. And that is a very big proprietor of this for me. And then also the point of it being a question, right? Because I was like, I could put anything else other like about the mind, right? Like what's a common mind saying? I don't even know right now. But anyway, uh I was just like, I need to have a question in here because I feel like they look like they're collectively asking a question to me, but like they're asking a question in their mind. They're not saying anything. But to me, they are asking a question with their mind because that's
For
what
what I
mind.
kind of perceived from that is you asking that to yourself, you know, and that could either be like your like you know that inner self that's kind of hidden away from even you, or like
Mhm.
you asking that question to your you know inner self that's kind of working in the background and doing all of this stuff that like you don't understand in moments or yeah. But I mean both ways it's kind of crazy because like
Yeah.
that's really what it is to be perceived by anyone. is that question. It's like that's the deepest way you can understand anyone is if like you just take your brain out and give it to someone. Like no
Yeah,
one can understand anyone just through like talk, because it's not as efficient.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really like how you put that because I guess I was thinking about it in a way that was like more relationship based, like not relationship based as in like romantic relationship, but my relationships in general, like
Hmm.
friendships, my I only have friendships. But yeah, I guess I was thinking about it like that, but you're right. Like, does that question also respond to me? I did write a little bit about it afterwards, but it was kind of about my emotions in the time, which I don't know. This is a recorded Zoom call, my friend. So we'll skip that one for today. But yeah, so I just been drawing other little things. Drew this one. This was on my Be Real. This is how this one
Oh
turned out.
yeah, that was very sick.
You know what's funny is I brought my little yesterday we had well this one was my sister's birthday, October the 13th. It was my sister's birthday, so this weekend we had a little dinner at my mom's, but I was showing her my sketchbook, and then she was like, when did you draw that? And I was like, I don't know, this weekend. I just got this Wednesday. And she has drawn something so similar to this. And I was like, I mean, obviously it's not the most like original thought of like, two little windows, the sun and the moon and one side, but it was just weird to me that she did draw something similar to that within the past however many. I don't know when she did.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
the year, and I was like, that is so weird that we would draw the same thing. How
How
weird.
long did it how long did it take you to draw that?
Um an evening to do the windows and these because I did Prismacolor on those, and then the background is charcoal, and then these I just erased them out. But those were like last minute decisions too, so that was kind of like next morning,
I
So
guess I guess
I,
I guess what I meant was like the decisions of like what it wanted to look like when you like first touched
mm,
your pen to the paper. Like when did the idea like come out? 'Cause I mean, I think that's like really cool because that's like a screenshot of your brain in, however long it took to make that decision.
yeah, yeah.
Those videos are
I
kind of crazy in that way.
Right. I feel like that's why it's like interesting to have like I'm really gonna try my best to fill this journal up. Let's see if I really truly do it. But like
I'm
I'll
rooting
keep
for
it
you.
on. I know, and I'm covering with stickers so that I can like it more. This was from my Whataburger patty melt. Again, I got a
Eh,
normal patty melt, and they put a special sticker on it, and I was like, okay, it's special. It's going on my notebook. Um, but yeah, this one this one was a little bit more like a fun one for me. I don't really think I thought too much about this one, and I haven't gone back to think about it. So maybe I will, especially since I know that my sister drew something
wait,
similar
wait,
because I
wait, wait.
only learned that one yesterday.
Do you want to try
Um,
and freestyle on it?
freestyle on it right now?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. I'm
Okay.
curious.
Okay. Well, I can tell you the certain things that I did do intentionally. So my son, I don't know how much that's gonna focus, but it
No,
is
I'll
a
see
little
it.
bit like wavier, and at the ends is
Wispy.
like, yeah, wispy. That's a good word. And that was intentional to me because I just don't like the normal circle sun because I was like, that's gonna be a little bit boring. And then these mountains, I know it's real light because I did choose to make this color palette a lot more pastel, but these mountains are a lot pointier in their, I guess, structure, whereas these are more hilly in that they're rounded. And then this obviously has just like a darker color palette. And then I did decide to put like the North Star with the moon. And to me, I chose. I'm like trying so hard, but I do know that I wanted this to be like softer in look in comparison uh, to like the pointiness of this, but not necessarily by color palette, but by form. Is that making sense?
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's an interesting decision too.
yeah. And then, I'm also just realizing that I did decide to keep these like round on this side and pointy on this side. I didn't even realize I did that, but
Yeah, and I thought what was interesting was that like the sun has like I mean it's like pink on that pathway
Mm-hmm.
and blue is on like the moon pathway. But I mean the decision to make the sun pathway pink is kind of interesting.
Hmm. I chose pink because I have the garden collection of the Prismacolors. And I was like, these are the prettiest colors. But it was about brights and darks, actually. So these were my bright tones in the garden palette, and these were my dark tones in the garden palette. So it was just like using that contrast, and also obviously I do have like normal Prismacolors too, and I use like yellow and orange for like the actual luminaries, and I am realizing I could have technically done the sun pink, who would have cared, but like uh choosing to do this pink rather than orange, which also is interesting to me now that I think about it, because orange is the opposite of blue. So if I did do orange, that would be a completely different contrast. So why pink? Why pink? Let's find out. Don't know. But let's continue more to other ones still,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I have more. This is just me and my cat. We can pass that one. This is actually of my sister for her birthday. So I'm drawing her taking a selfie
That's
and her
cute.
little
Which
iPhone.
sister? That's the oldest one?
My
The
older
older
sister.
one?
Yeah. And then she's taking a selfie. I showed it to her. She liked it a lot. Okay, this is what I want to show you. This is have I told? I'm pretty sure I might have told you in the past, but it doesn't matter because so many things happen in my life. But I have a reoccurring dream ever since I was a child. Have I told you this? It does.
I don't know.
I'll repeat it from the beginning.
Hold on, wait. Let
And
me
it's
open my window. It's kind of toasty in here.
okay. Ooh, it is like 70s in Houston today.
Oh, finally.
Yeah.
Weather's not torturing you guys.
No, there was a nice breeze when I was leaving work today.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so I've had this reoccurring dream ever since I was a child, like probably the first dream in my life that I remember having. And it is me as a kid having a tea party at a table, and this tea party is balanced on a tightrope, and it always changes between a tire and a boot will come crashing on the tea party, and I just start running down this tightrope. Okay. And so recently, well, I haven't had this dream maybe in 2 years at least. It could be I haven't had it in 3 years. And there was a time where I was having it extremely frequently through college. So that's relatively recent, right? And then as a kid, I'd probably have this dream at least once a month. And when I'm saying frequently in college, I probably mean like once a year. Like it wasn't
Mm.
even that much. But like, yeah, I haven't had it in a long time, is my point. And so it's like I made this conscious decision, right, to start to remember my dreams. And I made the decision like, I'm going to unpack my dreams and unpack my subconscious more, because I feel like that's where they
That
live.
that is
Tell
what
me,
that book I was talking about is about.
really, you need to
Yeah,
send it to me.
it's about giving your subconscious, unconscious, whatever symbols, like meanings that are personal to you and not some like other culture that has nothing to do with you, like
Mhm.
you can form your own meanings versus like based on your own history, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of how I view it. Show me,
Let me
you
send you
need
the
to
book.
send me the book
Hold on.
details. Um,
Give
so,
me 1 second.
oh, okay, okay.
I gotta show you the book.
Yeah, you do.
Here it is. It's called Inner Work. I flashed this one before whenever I was
Inner
speaking to
Work?
someone else. Yeah,
What a good name. Who's
by
it by?
Robert Johnson. Two first names.
Robert Johnson, yeah. White man with two first names.
I'm
Okay.
gonna text it to you right now.
Okay,
Let
cool.
me.
But yeah, first dream I got back. Guess what dream it is? My reoccurring
Hey.
childhood dream. So I decided, and the thing is, what was so different about having this dream to me was that each time I had the dream before in my life, it always felt like ominous, like it was always like a scary thing for me to have this dream, or it was like something was definitely already bothering me for me to have this dream, and I could figure out what that is, right? And right now, I'm unbothered. So I'm like, where is this dream manifesting from? Anyway, here's my dream. That's me at my little tea party table. And here's my tire coming down on
Wow,
me.
what the hell? I imagine this to be way more brightly colored. This is
Yeah, I
how,
know.
is this how you think of it whenever you have that
This
dream,
is,
when you wake up from it?
yeah, it is very dark. Everything is
Chilling
very
like
dark.
atmosphere.
So I don't know if you could tell that there is a thin line right here because
Oh
it's
yeah, I
just
see.
in darker black charcoal. But I think I'm gonna take this one up, honestly, and like really detail it out because there's actually a lot of like I didn't realize until I was doing this that I actually had a lot more little details that I felt like I needed to be able to put in that I can't because this is literally this small.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like in my dream, it's just a void, right? It's a void, and then little girl me in my big poofy dress having a tea party, and the tea party is also set for two more people, okay? And the lace on my dress, crazy, like ornate, like, and I guess I also haven't really stopped to truly like I guess unpack this dream to its fullest extent, right? Because I kind of forgot that it existed as a part of my psyche. So this is why I'm doing this. But yeah, she's a creepy little girl, but also she's mean. But like in my vision of it, I guess it is a little bit more like she would be a little bit more fuzzier in terms of like what's the words I'm looking for? It's almost like I also it's like I still visualize a glow around her and the tea party. It's not like she's just like in danger only, but she is in danger. She's in danger. And she just doesn't know it either. Cause then it's like tire comes down or a boot comes down. And I don't really know the significance of either the tire or the boot. Honestly, I'm pretty sure they might hold the same to me. And it's just like a matter of whichever picture my brain decides to give to me. But like it's just yeah, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, that's
So
my scary little girl.
so whenever you do have this dream, is it in like first person or is it in third person? Like, do you see this little girl's
Oh,
self, or like,
first
are you
person.
her?
I'm her. Even like
Oh,
as an adult through college, and then well, I guess I've only had this. I don't know. Am I an adult in college? I was an adult at 16. Um, I yeah, I've always still live in that little girl's body in this dream. Like it's still from her point of view. So when she starts running, it's me running. But I also know I'm like 6, 7. I'm 7. 7 for sure. 7 for sure. I don't know why, but
when do you wake up?
I don't. It's just I'm still running. I run
Do you get
the
away,
whole
or are you
time.
just running infinitely?
It's like an infinite run each time. And yeah, it never really truly gets me, actually. The tire or the boot.
Hey,
I don't know. I don't
so I
know.
mean, there's like there's a lot of interesting stuff you can get from that. Like, starting from the obvious, like, what the hell is this tire? And more importantly, like, where were you mentally whenever that dream happened for the first time,
Mhm.
and where were you every other time it happened? Because like, you know, the boot could just be a symbol of like, I don't know, like either a very specific stress causer that for some reason you like associate with the image of a boot or a tire, like and usually you come up with like the reasons why those images come up with like, significant iconography during whatever periods of time. Like when I think boot, tire, and youth all in one, I think of like jumpstart games. You,
Hmm.
you ever had one of those like learning video games? like a
No.
computer game. Well, in my mind, first thing that comes up is like those games, and like it was like a fishing mini game, and you'd catch a
I do
boot
know what
if
you're
you did
talking
something
about, though.
wrong, or you'd catch a tire or some shit like that. Um, I mean, and your association in that age range for those images could
Ooh.
be like, a completely different thing, or maybe it could be like a real life association or blah blah blah, but it's identifying with stress or like anxiety or something like that you don't want, you know?
You know, that does make sense to me actually. It would make sense if child brain me would pick those imagery if I was like seeing those in a game and was like, I got a boot, I
Yeah,
got a
yeah, yeah.
tire, you know?
Yeah.
But actually staring at this a little bit more made
Oh,
me
and
kind of
hold
remember.
on. It's gonna cut off in a little bit. Just
Oh,
jump
okay.
back into the link and then we'll keep going.
Okay, cool.
Oh, you want to do that right now? Or
Um, yeah. Here, let's do this
okay.
right now.
We're gonna jump out and jump back on.
Hello.
Yo, give me one second. I gotta respond to something.
Okay, cool.
This said he'll send over. Sweet. Where were
Um,
we?
my dream.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
I actually started to remember a little bit of what I might have thought in the past about my dream. I know that I've thought because I've definitely talked to my family about my reoccurring dream before, like at some point in my life. Because I know I've talked to my mom about it because my mom is pretty like for being a crazy ass bitch. Like she definitely is into her dreams. Like my mom has dreams of like those who have passed all the time that she's communicating with them. So I remember talking to her about this dream. And I remember like telling her that I know
A feature.
oh um I actually felt like the boot was a significance to my stepdad. Because I just hate that man. But like I'm pretty sure that that had something to do with it. And I always felt like there's two places at this table for someone else other than me.
It's like your mom and your
Oh,
sister.
yeah, it's my mom and my sister, and that sounds even worse because I have another sister. Thank God I know she's not gonna watch this. But it's just like, yeah, and I don't
Well,
know, maybe that is
she came after your stepdad, so like
she did. So maybe this dream was already happening before she existed. I don't even know. Because I just don't even remember the first time I had this dream. But yeah, I'm
mm,
pretty sure that like some way, somehow, this does have to connect with whatever trauma he caused to me and my life as a kid. But then
yeah.
also tea party is a bit odd to me. You know, I never really was like tea party gal. Like we well, it was like we had tea. Interestingly enough, I drink a lot of tea now and I'm making my own tea. I didn't even realize that. Uh but yeah, as a kid, I wasn't really like into the whole tea party situation. It's like I wasn't like the kid with like, I'm gonna have my tea party and have my stuffed animals on the side, you know? Like I was a book kid and my mom only let me read books. Um so yeah, I don't I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just
that's gonna be an interesting one to try and like piece apart, because like
mhm.
you it's like the image alone, and it's almost like word association type stuff, but for
Yeah.
like images, like if you flash like the image of a tea party instantly, or like I don't know, things that you'd associate with a tea party, and like give it a meaning or a definition off the bat, like that's most likely what that is about. And it might not be related to uh the tea party itself, but like the idea of like luxury, or the idea of like a
The
celebration, like a
unattainable, you know? Ooh,
maybe.
because it was what unattainable for me to have that life again, of just me and my sister. Like or me, yeah, just me and my sister and my mom.
And they
Ooh,
weren't there, you know.
yeah, they weren't there.
But the boot was there. That fucking boot,
Mhm. Yeah,
the
fucking
tiger.
boot. Yeah. This is next few ones I'm kind of working on altogether. This is literally a blank page with washi tape on it, and I was like, I'm gonna do something.
Mm,
But this one is gonna be me looking in a mirror, and that's gonna be my body dysmorphia monster.
that's what it looks like.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know yet. We'll see what it ends up looking like. It's still in progress. This is actually what I was talking about, that this is going to become my indecision page. And it's just going to be like a contortionist, but I need to look at body parts a bit more. I have my anatomy wrong in here, but I just want like her arms and her limbs to be like tangled up in a knot. And then
What,
like
so
her
wait,
head.
wait, wait. What does that stand for?
And this is going to be like indecision. I'm going to,
Mm,
yeah. Oh,
why?
why? I feel like I'm a very indecisive person. Like, and I just want to document it. And it's like, how does it feel when I feel like tongue tied, when I feel tangled for words? I feel like my body is like contorted. I also have a Taurus Mercury. So the physical being of my like communication is very like, it's how I understand it, right? Because like Taurus is the sign of the body. And yeah, so it's like that's my visual representation of me being indecisive. It's like my whole body just like crumbles up into
Mm,
a ball, and I'm like, I can't. But yeah.
yeah, I that notebook is so cool because like you're literally like anyone looks at a culture and I heard this example before, but like you'll see the image of a monkey and you'll be like, how the fuck does that represent this, or this that monkeys represent in that culture? You're like,
Mm,
you can't make that connection. But like at the same time in American culture, um, I don't know, the symbol of a duck like means something super specific, because
mhm,
we're familiar with these animals. They're familiar with those animals and the cultural lore that's kind of shared. And what you're doing is like you're making like up your personal symbolic like meanings for things. And like people don't do that shit. And it takes like a lot of self-awareness and self-analysis to be like I associate what just happened? Oh, okay, there we go. Now, I associate a cup with this idea, or I associate
mhm.
a book with this, or like the color blue with this and this and this,
Yeah,
beyond what people tell you it should mean. Like I know in studying like astrology or like anything, um,
like
what like
esoteric.
esoteric, yeah,
Mhm.
esotericism. Like whenever you're studying that stuff, like people will be like, "Oh, you want the stars to mean this, and you want the
Right.
color red to mean this, and blah blah blah." And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but like it just doesn't resonate with me. And then that's whenever you
Exactly.
like, graft your own beliefs onto that stuff.
Yeah, because it's like literally nothing matters, including astrology, if it does not connect back to your own senses. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
feel like if I was to just, I don't know, I feel like there's always, it's like my way of, I guess, eternal learning is what I'll call it, because that's just
Mm,
kind of how I,
that sounds kind of heavy. I like that.
that kind of does, right? This sounds a little bit cheesy too, huh? But
No, 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 no. I mean,
it's
well,
just,
imagine yourself saying that at like 80 years old,
yeah, then it's like, oh, the
The
wise
eternal
old lady.
knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
even at 80, like I plan to still be learning, and that's just like how I view, it's actually the only way I've been able to view my life and not want to die. It's like, can I keep learning? Yeah, I can. Okay, sure, I'll keep living. But it's just that exactly. It's like, how can I keep learning about everything that is possible for me to learn, but also what do I take from these lessons, right? Because what is the point of having all of the knowledge in the world if you're not doing anything with it? What is the point of being some type of, I don't know, preacher, esoteric leader. Let's talk about priests in the Catholicism. But what's the point of having that much power if you're not doing anything with it? And that doesn't even mean that you have to be doing anything with it for the sense of like everyone else's well being, but what about your own, you know? Because I
Mhm.
feel like, huh?
I just saw like a little roach, and it
No.
ran away as soon as I looked at it.
What?
Um, so yeah, we'll keep going, and I'll just be like split brain. But yeah. What's the point of having all that knowledge if you're not even gonna do anything with it, or not even do anything good with it?
Yeah, yeah. What if you used it for evil? There's people that do, you know?
Yeah, a
And
lot of religion. I mean, like its usefulness is that you're in control of like the idea of the afterlife. You know,
mhm,
so like what that's basically what some form like uh missionary work is kind of like the peaceful conquering of like another culture or something like that,
yeah.
because it's like if you join the club, like you won't be eternally damned, but that's kind of like a Trojan horse for culture, you know
Mhm. Yeah.
uh and I don't know, to show people, or to even like within yourself understand like your meanings, and like understand everything else through this like special lens of like creativity and things of that nature. You can kind of like,
Did you get it?
oh, oh man. Oh my
Did
god,
you get it?
I have no fucking clue, it just disappeared.
Dude, you know I can't kill a roach. I just spray it with Lysol. I spray it with Lysol till it is gone, and then I'll pick it up.
Oh god, all right, well,
Like you gotta gas it.
I'll be back here, I'll be back here.
Okay, let me show you this last drawing. The sun and the moon, but with faces.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is the one I did last night, right before I went to sleep. So
Yeah, isolated on the side. Why?
why?
Yeah, why'd you feel like drawing them?
Honestly, I started doing this side because I was like, let me draw a big sparkle with a face, right? And then that happened. And then I was like, it kind of needs a complementary on the other side. And then I darkened it to just have the opposite, you know? And then I was going to work backwards because I didn't really know what I was going to do yet. And then I started erasing at the face. And then I was like, this is a little bit luminaries again. And I find myself in the same place. So I just decided to continue it as that until I guess, fully figure out what it is I'm trying to figure out, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
like that. I don't know. I like that process of I don't know, just drawing, like doodling. Doodling is kind of like very cool. You're just
Dude,
like
it's
navigating.
underrated.
Yeah, super underrated. It's like
Yeah.
only reserved for like children and like
Mhm.
artists by any means, and I don't know. It's a
Yeah.
strong tool to like get to know yourself, and like why, like the question of why.
hmm And something I've been like realizing about myself is other than just the amount I've grabbed this as like my here's my something to do, right? My free time stuff is like what I was reading before. Before I was reading, I was only doing junk stuff before I cut all the junk out of my world right now. But yeah, and it's like the amount of times that I've like actually reached for this and like made something, it's like been every single time that I touch it, you know? And it's that has been very important to me and the way that I'm using my creative energy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
the outlet for that and the way to not take it so seriously. Because I realized like one of the biggest, I guess, factors into why I stopped making any art like period, whether or not it was good art or bad art, or just like making for myself, was because of like such a long-term criticism. It's like,
I feel that.
yeah, like even from my what being a child, it's like when you're a child and any adult is like, hey, you can draw. How will you profit? You have to
Yeah, yeah,
profit if you want to keep drawing. And then it's like, okay, how do I profit? And then I go to college for 4 years and only are what I'm taught that I have to only sketch a certain way. I have to think a certain
yes,
way. I have to, yeah, that shit fucked me up. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it just messed up whatever creative process I was developing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I have it down packed even to this day. Who knows if I'll have it down packed in this life, but let's hope. Let's hope, because I would like to. But like,
Well, I mean, there
yeah,
is no
it's
down pat,
true.
because you're
Ever
always
changing.
exploring. Yeah,
Let
and
me turn
that's the
on this
fun
light.
part.
Yeah. This lamp from Jen. Oh, hi,
Oh,
Noki.
cheers to Jen.
Yeah, cheers to Jen. Everything in my apartment thrifted. I'm sitting on my cushions from my chair project. There's the other cushion. Yeah,
Oh, hell yeah. That's the
yeah,
backrest,
comfiest
yeah.
cushions. Yeah, so I'm sitting on the big one right now. But yeah, my whole apartment is just furnished by other people and me.
The way it
What was
should
I
be.
saying? I was saying.
You were talking about,
Oh, creative process.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
and how like the
yeah,
for-profit aspect kind of like ruined things.
yeah, it just ruined like the way that my brain was ever working. I think college really destroyed it. I don't think it was already like it already wasn't working too great, right? Because even I don't know if I really talked about this, but like in high school, my like ninth grade art teacher, first of all, was crazy. But like she would have me like draw portraits of her family as like it was like everyone in the class would have like a project, right? And everyone has the same project. She would like take me on the side and like give me like one project different from everyone else, and it was always something weird, like draw my family. It was literally her family every time. It was like I was drawing portraits of her family, and I think what she was doing was like selling them back to the people in these portraits, because it was like, here's my aunt and my uncle, draw them. Like it was like random family. It wasn't even like, here's my father, here's, or I don't even want to draw your father, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just the weirdest things. And like, so I would be so bad at it, right? Because I wasn't interested in it, and I would rush it and I would do it real poorly. And she knew that I was kind of doing it poorly and that I could probably do it better. And so she was like failing me in art. So yeah, I would,
Oh,
yeah,
you were
had
like
to go to the
her little
counter's
factory
office.
worker.
I
She was like,
was.
"Give me results, crank it
Dude,
out."
I took her to the counselor's office because I remember like crying about it to my mom, because my mom was strict, especially about grades. So when I come home with a freaking C and then the C is in art, she wanted to beat my ass, like, what are you doing? Like, who are you making mad? And so I was like, I had like started crying about it to one of the counselors, and like they brought me into the counselor's office with my mom with this art teacher. I was what, 14, and this teacher, she calls me a jackass. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, dude, she was like, you need to I still remember it so vividly because it was my first time being in the counselor's office. And she was like, you have to stop being a donkey's behind about the work I give you. And I remember my mom, immigrant woman, doesn't realize that she just called me a jackass, right? And I remember like turning between the counselor and my mom and being like, did
You
y'all
like, you
just
guys got
hear
that shit?
what she said? Did y'all hear what she said to me? And yeah, she got fired the next year. But
Oh, yo, I mean, cheers to that. Like, what the fuck?
yeah,
That's like,
it was messed
that's
up.
kind of insane. Like,
Yeah,
who the?
Stafford High School, man. I
She was
guess
like,
shout out Miss
she was like,
Gorbanian.
you need to stop thinking about yourself and start cranking out work for me. You're being selfish.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like,
And
collect
so
that egg. Like, I'm giving you free work here, or you're
yeah,
giving me free work.
exactly. I was giving her free work. because I was a child labor. I guess we're in Texas. Don't is there child labor laws? I don't even know. But yeah, so I remember like being in like ninth grade and telling the counselors, don't ever put me in an art class again. And the thing is, it was like that year, rodeo art was the biggest thing at my school, like, because it was just like a small school, so we didn't have a
No,
lot of
yeah,
art.
same with my
Um,
schools.
oh, okay. Then yeah, it was like rodeo art was the only big thing that you focus on, right? And it was so when I was a freshman, I beat out her seniors in the best of show. So that's why she was, I guess, using me to her. I don't know what.
A
I don't
early
know.
investment.
Yeah, that's what she was trying for. And then yeah, so that was like what my first taste of being like, I'm in high school. I can probably, learn more things about art creatively, whatever, whatever. And then that happened, what a big stop in my artistic development. And then what, 16 I get a job, and I was working all throughout the rest of high school, working all the way throughout college, and then it's like I never really have been able to have a mental rest for my creativity until now, you know? So
Mm.
this is what that is, a documentation of that rest.
Yeah, I think in a forward thinking kind of way, there's it's good that you got burnt out at that early, time period to where I don't know, it was kind of like preserving your like creative juices for whenever you finally got some relief instead of like having those creative juices kind of melt, and
Mhm.
then like it becomes like some career to where it's hard to well, I mean, you are kind of in a creative career field, but like, just not in like the off of your artwork,
No,
so it
yeah.
can stay
Mhm.
personal, you know,
Exactly.
and not like
Exactly.
that for profit situation.
Yeah.
Because
And
that's its like
huh,
most valuable use case is if it's like the creative, like for you exclusively. Some people lose
exactly.
that shit and then they go crazy because they can't tap back into it,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm. And I also feel like I don't know what whatever happened to me in my life, right? Like timeline wise, this is where I needed to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, uh, I don't think creatively I would be at this point where I'm at, which is like obviously not even that far in, and like not even 1 week. I got this last Wednesday, but like, uh, just in terms of like being able to start this process and like appreciate it so fully, I don't think I would be able to be at this point if I was 100% pumping out work. Like I'm sure I probably would have had a greater what college career if I had a stronger high school artwork portfolio, you know what I'm saying? Or like actually not really cuz I don't know. But like, you know, and that's in a way I do mean that because I think the first 2 years of me being in like the ID program, I was still kind of learning what was I was learning still about myself and what did I like creatively, because I never really got to explore that. So honestly, like that was something that came along for me. I'll like say later in life, like I definitely did not like the same type of artwork before, or I didn't like the same type of things. But now I am more sure of what it is that I like, and has helped. That's helped me figure out how to put stuff down on paper, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're kind of like mental, spiritual kind of level is like, kind of
Mhm.
balanced now with the artistic level, and they can kind of like
Yeah.
share a relation. I think it's like so important for those two things to be at the same level. That way you
Mhm.
can really like see how you think, and that's so important.
Ooh.
Like
Mhm.
make your own symbols, like make your own, because at the end of the day, you're like talking to yourself, but in a way that is so much cooler than like actually talking to yourself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kinda like another thing I was thinking about. I talk to myself way too much. I talk to myself way too much. I live alone. I'm the only voice I be hearing all day, you know? And it's like I
Mm,
needed to be able yeah, it's that. I needed to be able to communicate with myself. Even like what the dream, it's like how many times have I had that dream? Can I probably unpack it if I sat down with it for a few hours? Maybe, but would it help me if I can draw it out, really
Oh
figure
yeah,
out what was going on in my brain and then sit down with it for a few hours, Like
yeah.
that is going to be way more significant to like me, my psyche, my mental health, my spiritual health than I don't know, blabbling to myself than forgetting what I say.
No, yeah, images are forever, especially if you can kind of like cement them. Well, actually, you can just say images are forever, you
They
know?
are. Especially
However it
like
manifests.
hard copy book, you know? I really this is why I really hope I finish this because I would like to continue a little book a year. I think that's something I want to do. Also, I'm 24, so I'm in my first house perfection year in astrology. And for me that well, for your first house perfection year is about like starting a new cycle in life, right? So for me, it's like very significant that I've started this now. Also started it during Libra season, and I'm a Libra rising. But yeah, it's like this new cycle that I'm tracking for myself, right? Has now has documentation of whatever it is. I don't know, I'm creating, even if it's like creating in little ways. But I also feel like it's almost like I feel like I'm working towards something and I'm not really sure what that something is yet. Does that make sense?
Ooh, that's fun.
That is a little fun. It is. Yeah, I haven't really figured out. It's because I don't
What is
know.
it? What does it require? That direction.
Um, I feel like it's that it because it's not necessarily right. I'm obviously known to be a little bit of a recluse lately, right? And it's almost that like I want to how do I word this? It's like I've come to the realization, right, that there's certain parts of me and my mind that I do want to share with the world, right?
Oh,
I know how how
that's
significant.
nice. Yeah.
But I haven't fully figured out how I'm going to do that, right? And I'm pretty sure in some way, some format, so I'll keep it open-ended like that. It's going to be a creative body of work, right? And I don't know what that creative body of work is yet. I don't know if it's multiple creative bodies of work, but I definitely feel like there is a story I have to fully translate. And when I do that, it will be shared. But I haven't finished translating it even for myself, you know? So it's like
Yeah.
when I'm done translating everything to me, whether that's in this book, in whatever version of my documentation in my notes app, then it will it'll come into fruition itself, like I'm also like in no rush. If I don't put out this body of work till I'm 50, guess what, world doesn't have to hear about it till I'm 50, but
Oh, there's that
world will still
motherfucker.
exist.
He just keeps coming
Yeah.
back. Oh, he ran away again. I'm
You
gonna
gotta
get
get
him.
some Lysol, just spray
Dude,
them,
yeah,
just
for
spray 'em.
real.
That's the
Um,
only way to do it, because then they just run, and then if you
yeah.
only get their head, they live for 3 days without their head.
Oh my
You just gotta
gosh, yeah.
suffocate them.
Those fuckers. Mm, all right, but what you're saying with that is like kind of beautiful because like there's this one artist that I've recently been obsessed with. Oh, hold on, you're pausing. Oh, there you go. And his name is Arthur Jaffa, or it's something like that. Uh, I posted about him a little while ago. He has this like very
Okay,
crazy
then that's probably how I
strong,
reckon.
yeah, strong imagery. One of the posts on Instagram, I can pull it up real quick. Right. He's like who I want to be, like as an older person, like a mixture of him and several other motherfuckers. But he's crazy in how he speaks. He speaks very poetically. I saw this one interview that I'll send to you literally right before we started talking, and he was talking about how he got his first like astrological reading when he was like 30.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then
Mm-hmm.
the person told him that he wouldn't he wouldn't make his like best work until he was like 50. And
Mm.
he's like an old dude now, and he's making like very significant stuff. Like he's finally at a point where he can like translate all of this like accumulation of like ideas, like imagery, words, blah blah blah, in like just the right way, and he's done so many things, like uh
Ooh.
yeah, and he was talking about like what that looks like, to kind of like hit your note. He was saying that you have the people who make like the consistent like hitters, something along the lines of that. And then you have the
Mm-hmm.
people who are more kind of like they make their big works in chunks, and then it's like a slow movement into the next chunk and then the next one. And there's the people that are the consistent hitters. But he described himself as like an in between. But he's an old dude making the stuff that he's always wanted to make, And I don't know.
Yeah.
He just looks fucking like that's the good life, to
Yeah,
not
like
feel
that's
the
what he
pressure
was
of
working
now.
towards.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he was told that, he was like, "What the fuck? Like I've been working hard as fuck. Like this shit better come tomorrow,
Yeah.
you know."
Mm-hmm.
But it came when he was older.
Yeah. And funny enough, I was actually thinking that about myself specifically because I was reading my birth chart. I was reading my astrology. So that is so funny that you say that because I literally read my astrology and I was like, damn, I'm probably not gonna have anything really come into that's why which is also funny because how long have I been like I'm not living past the age of 20 and here I am at 24. And so now I've like switched my brain and I'm like, oh, actually, I'm probably not going to put out my best work till I could be dead and then my best work would be out. Like I just know that it's going to come at a later point in my life. And here's my reasoning. Venus is the
I'm sending
planet
you
of,
the video right now so I don't forget. But you can keep going.
yeah, go ahead. Venus, her, we love her. Planet of beauty, planet of arts, all of that. So my Venus is conjunct. So that means it's on top of, like, overlaying, holding hands with my Saturn. Saturn is the planet of like discipline, strictness, teachings, right? And like it's a very slow moving planet, whereas like Venus is like, Earth's twin.
Yeah,
And so for those to be conjunct in my chart, and they're in the seventh house, which is ruled by Libra, not by mine, but mine is ruled by Aries. But like traditionally, the seventh house is ruled by Libra. Sorry, did I make that confusing? But anyway, what's it called? Yeah, Venus and Saturn are conjunct in my seventh house, and basically the seventh house is about arts too. Okay, and yeah, when I have always known this about my chart, but it's like I was also reading it in terms of other aspects of my life, like, oh, my relationships, I can understand why this is happening to me, and that kind of stuff. But then I started to think about like Venus as in beauty and art, and like where is the discipline in my art was kind of the question I gave myself. And it's like
Mm,
I kind of realized that I didn't truly have my own discipline in my art. It was like the discipline from my art always came from higher education, right?
yeah, it was
In
like
some
prescribed.
sense. Yeah, exactly. It was like, here's the task that you have to do. Can you do it? And my creative senses are like, why couldn't I do it? But it's like, where is my discipline to myself to be like, hey, can you do this for you and have a completely like a complete prompt that is provided by my decision making, or whatever that may be. But
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. I don't I actually might have decided what I want the first thing I work on to be. But um yeah, I could talk about it, I guess. I
Yeah,
definitely am
please.
going
What?
to make another. Huh?
I said, yeah, please.
Oh, yeah. I definitely want to make another tarot deck because I feel like that is probably like the first thing I want to be like an actual one to like, I don't know, maybe print and sell. That's like my thought process of it because I'm not gonna put selling on my plate because, like I said, I don't
Hey,
want to
good
do
shit.
consumption. Yeah, but like in terms of like creating, it's almost like I want to create this one with an audience, right? Because I have made my own tarot deck, but I did make that only for me to see in terms of like the energy that I wanted to give it, right? And it's like I know you've seen it, but it's just like the calmness of it that I wanted to keep through it. Um I guess you can see it on my website. Um but uh yeah, I do want to make another tarot deck that is for consumption of people, whether that be through selling the deck or just posting the art online, and
Yeah, yeah,
letting the art be consumed by viewers, but it's
yeah.
like there is a lot of work that I don't share because of like I don't know why I don't share. I don't know, social pressure, social norms, who knows, which
I mean,
yeah,
that's
but
it's a give and a take, but the I think the good aspect of that is that like it stays precious. It never turns bastardized, from what like people want.
yeah, because I've done my fair share of, can you draw me and my boyfriend for Christmas as a gift? And there was a point in my life where I was like, I shouldn't turn this down, right? Because it's like that is money for artwork that I create. Any money that I create for, oh wait, no, any artwork that I create for money must be good artwork because it must be good money because that validates me.
Mm,
That was like the train of thought for so long. Like, honestly, even probably up until like truly last year. And even like, even though I wasn't really like about that, like, even though I was probably a little bit more like, do I really think that? I was probably still going to listen to that if given the opportunity, because it was just like, that seems like what I should do. And it's like, but then at the same time, it's how would I ever be taken seriously if all I'm doing is drawing people as my boyfriends, you know? And that
yeah.
is such a specific topic. Sorry to the, I don't mean this to any of the girlies that I've drawn their and their
No,
boyfriends.
I mean, you're onto something there though, because like it's easy to kind of fit into that niche money generator. That's what for
Mhm.
profit stuff turns into. Because
Yeah.
you keep doing what makes you money. Because like people are paying for what you've already done.
Hmm.
If you think about it, like, because they see something that you did and they're like, can you do that again, but for me? And if you're
Yeah.
only doing that because people do that, then it's like a weird feedback loop and you're always
Yeah.
doing the same shit. And you
Hmm.
can't do anything else because people will not fuck with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it becomes a thing for everyone else.
Yeah. It's like people don't like change,
Yep.
that's that. And so it's like, I don't know. I also feel like, I'm ever changing too. I don't know my own, I know myself, maybe, but I
Now
don't
you do.
know. Now I do, I will say that,
Not
yeah.
not
Now
not
I've gone a little closer. I also
not like 3 weeks from now, but now is
yeah, it's just like I don't know. In terms of like, let's go back to like me, my psyche, and my mind, right? Like that entity is ever changing, you know? So it's like whatever art I'm making today, I might not like it in however many years. And I might look back at it and be like, ooh, what was I thinking? This how I thought I could put down this idea best? How dumb of me, And who knows if I'll think that about anything I've drawn last week, But if that happens, that's okay. That's a part of like the development. And I don't know. I feel like I've just come to my life conclusion in that I know nothing and I will always continue to know nothing while trying to know everything.
Hey, cheers to that. It'll be exciting to see like the what the tarot cards kind of like end up looking like, or like the theme, knowing that you have like a an audience that's bigger than yourself that you will be like communicating with, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
I'm gonna try and still go into that idea as if it is still out of me or for me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I
Mhm.
don't want it to be too influenced about people consuming it, and I will try and leave it as like true as possible. But also in terms of like where I see that style going, definitely a lot darker than I've done before, which I'm actually pretty excited about because I don't know, I almost feel like it's weird to say this, that I've always felt like, oh, okay, I got it. This is how I feel about it. It's like my, I don't want to say dark side because that sounds so cliche, right? Or like my shadow. That sounds so cliche. But basically, like the darker parts of myself, everyone has those. Like the darker parts of myself, I feel like I always just kind of like, um, yeah, that she was behind me, you know? Like
Mhm.
she stayed behind me. She kind of followed me, and it was that existential dread of her. Hello, is this good? Are you back?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, my phone doesn't tell me when I'm like joined. What was I saying?
Your your
Oh,
shadow
shadows. Yeah.
darker
Yeah,
self.
I kind of always felt like it was just like the dread of it. Like my darkness always followed me, you know, and I always felt her. And then it was like, I don't know, within last year, I'll say that, maybe last 2 years, like I learned how to hold her hand is like the best way I can
Mm.
word it, you know? And like how do I navigate this life while holding her hand and like keeping her a balanced part of my well-being, you know? Because I don't think that like the good or the best part of me could ever exist if the worst part of me didn't. That makes sense. Yeah,
No,
that's
yeah, yeah. And usually, I don't know, whenever people talk about, duality in that kind of way, it's
mhm.
like really, it sounds so like easy to comprehend, but like, I don't know, there's a lot of shit in there. Like,
Oh yeah.
the good can't exist without the bad. And people are like, duh, but it's like,
Yeah.
you like truly don't understand like how crazy that concept is, you know?
Mhm.
And it's even hard to explain. It's one of those things that you just have to like say, you know? It's like a Yoda quote.
Oh man, what was
Some
I?
bullshit.
You just reminded me of something that I heard in my podcast earlier, and I can't remember what it was, but it was something about like duality and that, like, oh man, I'll listen to it again and I'll let you know. But it was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
about the whole, the bad and the good have to coexist, you know, like it. And yeah, there's so many more layers to that than people can even imagine. Cause like, oh
because I mean, if you think
man,
about it, it's not even bad and good.
yeah,
It's just like the two, polarities,
right.
and like
And
even
then
sometimes those bad aspects are good in certain scenarios. They're better than the good things in certain scenarios.
I was just about to say that. And then on top of that, there's your own personal perception, you know? You could perceive something as good or something as bad. And then what? Someone else completely different can look at the same situation and perceive the opposite of you. Someone in the same situation as me, right? Like let's say me and someone had a whatever altercation, but I'm in the right because I know I'm in the right. I am always in the right. I'm just kidding. But then it's like they always think they're in the right too. You know, everyone thinks that they are correct or everyone needs to be correct and needs to be the good. And no one ever wants to actually be like mellowing out in their badness, you know? Not their
Yeah, yeah.
badness.
And to do that, you have to like truly see yourself as an individual, and try not to align your identity too much to like a set, like ideas are these kind of like, I don't know, they're like a screenshot of something, or like the essence
Screenshot
of
of your
something.
mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like a screenshot of like a momentary thing. It's not capturing, something as like fluid as like a whole human,
Mm-hmm.
So whenever people are like, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm this, I'm that, like, you're bad, I'm good, or any of those things to kind of separate people, without including their like whole entirety of like identity. Like you start getting into some like weird territory, and that's kind of why like all that stuff about basically just non-binary culture, because like it's
Yeah.
like those people identify as individuals completely, and they don't identify too far with like masculinity or femininity. It's like they're just the individual that has like aspects of either one, and it's like it's
Yeah.
allowing them to not be like man, eight
Mm-hmm.
things, woman, eight things. It's like three of those, two of those, and some of other stuff that doesn't even
Yeah.
exist there.
And
Uh,
I was thinking about our conversation with Caleb and Monica about that whole neurodiversity and non-binariness. Sorry,
yeah.
can we go? But yeah, I was thinking about that conversation again recently, and like how much I was actually thinking about Caleb asking me if I was always going to be presenting feminine, you know? And ow, stop, that hurts. Do you understand that? That hurts. Sorry.
Like, damn, sorry.
um yeah, I was thinking about that question he prompted me, because I know he asked it in like a, because we were there and I was making a demonstration, but like it really sat with me for longer than I think, because I was like, damn, am I always going to be feminine presenting? But I did come to the conclusion that I do think the answer is yes, because my gender expression is just a little bit more feminine. Actually, I don't know, it could change. But I do feel like, I don't know, being in tune with like that androgyny, almost like androgyny for one thing. As ever since I was a kid learning about androgyny for the first time, I was like I loved it. I was like, you could do that? What is that? And I remember just like, I remember thinking that it was like a fashion thing, actually. Like I remember being like, is it just clothes? Which technically, like, it's like you can just, I don't know, express yourself however need be. But
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
changing too, you know? And
Yeah.
it's like that will always, I don't know, I leave a lot of things open ended in my life, and that is another thing I am going to choose to continually leave open ended in terms of like labeling sexuality or gender for me. Like that open ended, don't know yet. One
No,
day
yeah.
we'll find out.
Yeah. And to
Maybe
be
more.
able to see it as something that's not fixed is like that's like mental health,
Mm-hmm.
at its like finest, because like the issue with like dudes and masculinity is like what. Hold on. Oh, okay. Yeah, the issue, someone just popped up and it like covered us. So I was like, did it stop? But yeah, something, yeah, yeah. Dudes and masculinity and some women and femininity is like people feel like they have to adhere exactly with those things, and then when something changes in them that deviates from like those things, they're like they're like depressed and
Yeah.
crushed because like
Mm-hmm.
there's no framework that allows for something that differs from that like image of man, woman, you know?
It's like their ego gets crushed, because like your ego is like what, your image of yourself, right? And then
Yeah.
it's like that, let anything change about you, let a man cry, all of a sudden ego shattered on the ground, tell a man that his truck is to compensate, ego on the ground. But like, yeah. And it's almost like, yeah, it's like, to me it's just people who can't or who don't really give themselves the space to think about those things, right? And do decide to be very closed-minded. In a sense, they're always end up being more sensitive, you know? And it's like, are you actually expressing the qualities that you don't really realize are not too masculine right now by holding your sensitivity just in a different place? Because those sensitivities still exist, you know?
And it comes
Like,
out in ways that's how it
exactly.
like it's screaming on the inside. It's like, let me out. You
Yeah,
know, and that
yeah,
uneasiness is just all of that inner conflict.
yeah. And it's like these traits just exist within us already, you know? And it's how do we express them for our highest self, you know? And it's choose when you choose the opposite of what you truly desire, I think that's when you start to have problems, you know? And we've seen that happen. But I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, you gotta let your soul do its thing.
Yeah, you do.
Or else
And
you'll be
even
depressed, like bottom line.
mhm, mhm. But yeah, it's 7:30 here and I have to
Oh
pick
yeah, I
up my
forgot. Yeah.
yeah.
Look at that. We're about to just go on forever.
I know. We
Well,
can, but another time.
before we wrap up, I got I made them into stickers.
Cool. You need to send me some. I want that.
Oh
I will
yeah.
put a sticker on here.
Look.
Cool. How'd you
And
make them into stickers? What'd you use?
that white is actually
Clear?
translucent. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a clear background situation.
Have you put meanings to them, or do you not want to reveal to me right here, right now? That's fine if you don't.
So I'm going to. I haven't done it yet. I've made a lot
Okay.
of progress on the white one for like the
Dude,
little symbols that are on it. I need to send you a screenshot. Like I kind of I kind of went in on this one. Or is it?
that
Yeah,
one
it's
was
this
one of
one.
my favorites for sure.
Yeah. So like,
Oh man, we don't have the time. I didn't even show you any of the stuff I was messing with on Mid Journey. I need to show you.
yeah,
Ooh,
text them.
ooh. How do you are you paying for Mid Journey?
Yeah.
It's really not that much. I know it's only like $10 or something, but I'm like, ooh, $10.
Yeah. See, so I'm gonna like I like printed
Oh,
these out
cool.
and pasted them in, but I'm gonna just gonna write a bunch of shit in
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
I'm like first things that come to mind. And yeah, I'm trying to think of them as like archetypal like things, like seasons, for example. That's
Mm,
mostly where they're gonna be grounded in. So I could really kind of like I like that I could have symbols for seasons because there are these things that we're deeply involved with. Like winter, people become depressed.
mhm,
What summer, everyone's doing the most. And then winter and fall are kind of just right, but one's like
mhm.
preparing for the shitty part and one's preparing for like the hot season and to like have ideas grounded in symbols.
Yeah.
Like I can like make more I don't know. I can like really get the best value out of each season, kind of like embody them more,
You
you know?
know, have you ever you've heard of like sigils, right?
No, that's exactly
Yeah.
what these things are.
Yeah, that's like basically or not we did talk about sigils. Runes? Is it runes that we didn't talk about?
No, yeah, I don't know much about those. Someone brought
About
that up
runes.
to me though, like
Yeah,
Nordic runes and stuff like that.
you should look into those because it is like so there are runes that exist that mean certain things, right? And it's a whole thing and I don't know enough about it to butcher it right now. But like yeah, you should look into that too with the whole sigil idea while you're writing your meanings behind these because I feel like it'll help you choose certain language for your imagery,
Oh,
which is
yeah, yeah,
very,
very interesting.
important for your communication. So
No, yeah, yeah, and it's kind of weird because I'm working backwards. Like
I
usually,
wouldn't say that
oh,
because I did the same thing. I created and then I wrote. And then I
mm,
realized that I always find the meaning after. Because
yeah, that's strong, yeah.
why if you were to give yourself listed words, would you be making that? I don't think so.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
I mean, because working this way, you're actually just it's like subconscious first, and then
Hmm.
it's like dream interpretation, basically, like,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. But
Hmm.
on that note, we'll wrap it up.
Alrighty. Yeah, I have to go pick up my groceries. Was there anything else in here? No, we can bring these up next time you call me.
All right, sweet. It's nice to talk to you. I'll be
You
in
too.
Houston.
When?
Again, at the end of the month on the 29th until the
In
2nd.
Oh, for the art show.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Hey, oh, I was gonna ask you this. When are you gonna what days would be best for you for me to come to New York? That's what we need
Ooh.
to figure out. I found out I would have a week off work, but it's basically, dude, have you looked at a calendar? That last week of December is like a straight week, like from Sunday to Saturday, that has Christmas and the New Year's in it. So it's like everyone is only gonna get one full week off. And I was like, what? This calendar sucks. But yeah, so I get like a week. And I was thinking like, I don't know, go see hang out with you for like 2 3 days, hang out with Leah for like 2 3 days. But then Heba texted me saying, "When are we gonna go see Imhotep and Leah?" And I was like, "Oh, we're making this a trip." So
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're gonna get tickets, you should get them now. But I'm not going back home for Christmas because I don't
I think,
celebrate Christmas.
I mean, yeah, I don't plan to
But
either.
people over here do, so those tickets might be a little pricey.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So that's why I was like, maybe I just come at a completely different time too. And it's like I'll come for a weekend or something and just take an extra day off work or 2 days off work, like a Friday and a Monday, you know?
Yeah, it'd be
So
worth
I don't
looking at
know. Let
though.
me know whenever. Okay. Because maybe I also wait until after the holidays pass. But I do want to take a trip. I feel like I need it. I
Yeah,
need a
you do.
little
You need a break.
break out of Houston. Mm-hmm. I do. Okay, well, I'll let you go. I gotta pick up groceries, and I know you got something to do. Good luck with that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. All
Okay,
right.
my friend. Goodbye.
All right. You have a good night.
You too.